Let's call this meeting to order. And we have Jim Jansen, James Perry, and Bob Warham absent, but we do have a quorum in spite of Warham not being here. And we need to amend the agenda to add the approval of a member to the foundation board. So I'm suggesting that after item 4, let's have about a 4.5, and we will have that approval for the foundation member. So with that addition, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
I so move.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, let's move right on then to the minutes of the September meetings. 2 meetings in September, and certainly were well done in my opinion. Are there any comments or questions that need to be handled? If not, I will
Thank you, Mike.
entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, let's move to the financials, and we do have a little discussion we have to have here. There are 2 different packets of financials.
Yeah, the ones that were printed at the library were inadvertently missing page 2 of the September reports, but the email that you got had everything in it. So,
Okay. So this is a new way, the city has a new program for putting out financials, their financial reports. A little bit hard to read, but we did discuss them at length on Monday, and as I recall, nothing surprising, particularly in the big spreadsheet, except we are looking at the line item that says building and maintenance repair, because we have used quite a bit of that money already, and that's a little bit of a concern. And our ground maintenance, even though we're only a quarter into the year, that's about halfway out. So those are ones we're looking at. Other than that, nothing is particularly surprising in here. Some line items are used up right away, early in the year, and some we hold off on for a long time. What do you recall, Deanna, that we needed? We're not really bringing up anything unique.
Yeah, the other couple of things that I remember from our discussion with you, Sarah, was just the HVAC status and, kind of finding out more from Dustin and Shane about when we might have to think of repairing or replacing them.
yeah, I hope by next week we can know better what we're gonna need to replace.
Wow.
Well, there's no
Yeah,
sense.
we've got a couple compressors down right now, 2 of 4 are down.
And we don't have enough information for discussion. We need to get more information. Shane is on vacation, so when Sarah gets more information, that will be shared. That's one of our building maintenance and repair items that we'll want to be aware of as we move forward. Salaries, nothing there, nothing in our book.
I was curious about how much we used Baker and Taylor, because they were in the headlines
Yes.
this morning on public radio that
Yes.
they are ending their company. And
Huge
about
impact for libraries.
a fourth of our expenditures for books went there.
Yeah, I mean, they've been a primary vendor
Yeah.
for years and years
Yeah.
and years
Yeah.
for libraries.
Are they going out of business because they've got financial
Yeah.
issues?
Yeah.
Are they in competition so much with Amazon and stuff that's
I
causing?
don't know, but.
Kind of looks like it.
I'm sure the library community will share more
Yeah.
once they know it. The other thing I know we talked a little bit about, Diana, was back in it was in the September report, we had a building maintenance expense for Elsa Miller to do some work on the lighting rewiring, and there was something we were gonna follow up because Huff, under our building project contract, was going to pay for that, or there was an understanding that that would be covered by Huff, so we were gonna see
Yes.
if we could get a credit for that. We have paid Elsa Miller, the person, the company that did the work, but then see how we need to handle that between Elsa Miller and Huff.
That's right. I'll make another note here that I will get a hold of Huff.
And you had some notes on the financials in the board notes, Sarah.
Yeah.
I think those, were pretty self-explanatory, but
Okay.
if there was anything else you wanted to add. Mostly the CTI, finishing that contract, work for the meeting rooms.
Okay, any more questions? And Zach thinks he can tweak this report a little bit next month so it's a little bit more readable. They're still having issues, I think, with the
It's just
city
gonna
on
take a
it.
little bit of time for
Yeah,
everything
it's
to
not-
settle in.
Pricking along quite as they would wish. Okay. Do I hear, the financials are coming from the Budget and Finance Committee. That's the motion. We don't need a second. Do I hear a vote in favor of accepting the financials?
Aye.
Anyone opposed and need more discussion? Okay. And that's per standing resolution, of course. Okay. Amongst all my,
Item 4.5?
Item 4.5 is now on here, and we have a new board member being appointed to the foundation board. Do you want to take over on that, Deanna, and explain why that's happening and who our person is going to be?
Yes, as you remember, the foundation board consists of certain people by virtue of their role, like the library director, and it also contains some members of the community, and then there are 3 members of the library board that also are to serve on the foundation board. And in the past, that has been myself and Diana and Ross. And of course, with Ross now leaving the library board, we need to backfill that position on the foundation board. And then Ross was also a member of the investment committee within the foundation board. And so I spoke with Angie as our new person
Oh,
filling
great. Good.
Ross's role, and she said she was willing. So this is a motion to appoint Angie to the foundation board as a representative of the library board.
And we're thrilled to be able to do that. Anyone have anything they want to say to Ed? Then, all in favor, aye?
I
Opposed? Nobody's opposed. Nay. And the next thing you have coming up is an investment meeting, I think, so And she'll get her feet wet.
We'll get her some background and she'll get her feet wet in the upcoming meeting. And just for clarity on that motion, I made the motion. Do we need a second before we,
I'll second.
okay, there we
For
go.
good measure.
All right, and we did all say aye.
All
Sorry
said
for being
aye.
off task here. I'm headed into item 5, which is the highlight of every meeting in the fall. We need to decide on the amount of increase we would like to ask the Bremer County Library Association to ask the Board of Supervisors for next year. And you have a form in front of you. It shows that the last 4 years, there has been no increase whatsoever in support, financial support coming from the Board of Supervisors. It shows what we have requested, and that's our request, and it goes to the Bremer County Library Association. All the percentage requests are pooled together into one request that the County Library Association presents to the Board of Supervisors, usually in January.
Yes. We turn our request in December. Your sheet shows 24-25 as the last year, and I did look up again for this current year, 25-26, and the contract amount was the same, $190,000, with the $5,000 for technology education classes, and then our request for this year had been 4%.
Remind me, is it Bob who serves as our representative to the county? Bob Warren?
Oh, yes, and he is planning to attend the virtual meeting next Tuesday, although we did change the bylaws in the last year, so that, because we were having trouble with some libraries not being able to get a trustee to the meeting. So if a trustee can't be at a meeting, a librarian can vote. Each of the 7 communities only gets 1 vote,
Gotcha,
but
gotcha.
Yeah.
I remember that now.
Well,
Well, you
I
know-
thought that I was chatting with Sarah, we at least need a cost of doing business raise. Cost, because over the last 4 years, we've had no increase, and yet our expenses have increased, and therefore, it would be nice to have at least an increase that goes along with the cost of living that comes with the government recommendation.
I did look that up for 2026, and the projection is that when that is announced, that it's going to be between 2.7 and 2.8% for 2026. So I don't know if you like that number.
I mean, it might be good to look a little bit before your county meeting too at what the cost of living increases have been in the last 4 years when no increase has been provided.
Okay.
Because at a minimum, you know, that 190,000 from the county allotment has lost a lot of purchasing power.
It sure has.
Yes, for sure.
I mean, it's always good that they continue to fund the technology education class, but that too has stayed at the same amount, so.
So as we divide that up, the 7 public libraries in Bremer County, that's a little bit less than $1,000 apiece per
Okay.
year to use on technology. We did do some joint things with that money in the past, but the past year or two, each library has had the freedom to use that on whatever technology they need.
Well, I think we should ask no less than 3%, and maybe somewhere looking at the lack of increase over the years, 3.5, 4%. Whatever we put in then goes into the kitty, and there's no sense in us beating our head against this. Every year it comes up, and every year it's frustrating, and every year we end up getting what we're given. So if we ask for something reasonable and present a reasonable story behind it, maybe they'll listen.
I mean, you know, just as we have, all the libraries in the county have faced, you know,
Oh,
financial
yes.
crunches. And,
Very much.
you know, all of the libraries serve a lot of, you know, rural community members. And so, you know, it's something, it would be really great for the county to recognize that and give us some kind of an increase.
Yeah, I feel support for the small libraries and just thinking that perhaps we should have a bold request so that they don't feel like they are barking up our tree and
Yeah.
we don't support that.
Well,
I mean, I was even, I mean, sounds like you were thinking maybe even something a little bit
3 or
bolder.
4.
And I was even thinking, why not 5? You've got a inflationary adjustment to what,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, I would support
is
it.
that your motion?
well, I'm throwing it out there for
Yeah.
further
What do
discussion.
people say? I mean, we're gonna
Yeah.
have to make a motion, it doesn't,
Yeah.
it really won't
Yeah.
make any difference what it is. The whole thing is going to be a statement in what we
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
needs to be done, and you
Yeah.
know how
And the
attentive they
process,
always
of
are.
course, you know, for other folks that the county goes through is they take the requests from all the libraries and average them
Yeah, and-
in order
and
to
that's what
present
goes-
something
right.
forward.
But as the presentation is made, the idea of the lack of any increase, plus the inflationary effects and the decrease in what $190,000 will actually buy you anymore, that can be presented,
Right.
but it's usually presented to no avail.
So we have to assume that the Board of Supervisors has some rationale for not increasing this in the last 5 years. Do we know what the rationale is?
We never know.
No,
No,
it isn't.
the Board of Supervisors.
So there's no way of knowing.
No, there is not.
I mean, my recollection from serving as the county representative a number of years ago is based on the questions that they ask or comments they make when we present, you might get a little sense of where their head is at, but once they give you the information about their budget, they don't share any additional information.
Well, part of my question is, do you get the sense that they want you to believe there simply isn't any money to do it, or do they more think it isn't something they think is important to do?
I always remember getting the sense that they believe in libraries, they support libraries, they think it's important, but their financial constraints, you know, are just, don't necessarily allow them to fund everything that they would like to.
Sarah, the 5,000 for the tech ed classes, so, I guess I didn't realize that that was
Oh.
split between the 7 libraries. Would
Yeah.
it make sense to have a percentage increase of the budget, but then also like tack on, you know, $2,000 more so that it's like an even thousand for each library, or, you know, or is there a way to kind
I
of?
think we asked for that last year,
Uh-huh.
and it remained at 5,000, but we could certainly ask again.
Okay, what's our percentage? Somebody,
5 sounds good. but-
Yeah.
bold.
Yes,
Yeah.
is it,
move, I'll second that.
okay? Let's,
Is that a motion?
Yeah, I mean, I move that we request a 5% increase. Do we want to add on, and an additional $2,000 for technology education classes, bringing that up to a $7,000 ask?
And let me clarify that in the beginning, we did technology education classes together as a group, but when we split up and did our own thing, we were spending it on, sometimes we're actually spending it on physical things. So it's not technically classes anymore. But I see that.
Technology related.
Yeah,
Yes.
technology education, I still have
Yeah.
classes on there.
okay, we've got a motion and a second, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed, nay?
Elaine, are you the second?
Yes,
We did it.
yes. Good.
Okay. And I think you mentioned that you would send a link if anyone wants to
Yeah.
participate in that meeting virtually. It's a week from tonight.
Week from tonight at 6 PM. Yeah, Bob said he was going to try to make it, but anyone is welcome to join if they're curious, so all you have to do is ask me.
Okay, item 6, a report on our strategic planning process. It's a good report.
Yeah. So I'm going to send around a list of the citizens that we have so far
Oh, wonderful.
that Emily, in her
Ah,
time that she's had to be good after trying not to do anything to her back, she was able to make a lot of contacts with people. And these 20 people have told us, yes, that they will come. And we still have, I think it was, I guess it's at the top of my email there that I sent around to you, that there's still 13 additional people that have been asked, but we haven't heard back for sure yet. So I forwarded this to Becky today, our consultant, and she was really happy with where we're at. I think she feels like 20 would be fine. We would love to have, some additional if there are others that still want to come forward and be part of this focus group. But it looks really good, and I was just looking through it today. I tried to highlight men in a blue color, women in a pink color, just to see what our balance was, and it's not bad. We have, on this list of 20, we have 7 men and 13 women. Some of the couples may be bringing a spouse, which we welcome them to do. I think the age range looks pretty good. I also think the sector of the community that they could represent looks pretty good as well. I don't know if you see any gaps. If you do see any after tonight, you can always mention that to me, and we could try to target someone, from a certain area.
So Sarah, are Karen and Mark Lehman coming as a team?
Karen wasn't sure yet. She said that she was for certain. Maybe Mark will join her, but we're not sure.
It looks like a great group.
It does.
I'm really pleased with
Yes.
the response that.
I am
we
too.
got.
Well, it says we may be a little heavy on highly educated or higher income. Well, Waverly itself has more people with higher education, and this is not a poor community. And it's not a very diverse one, so that might be an area where if we can find somebody that's,
Less educated?
well, may not be Anglo-Saxon,
No.
Caucasian. We just don't seem to have a huge population that participates in.
Well, we'll see when we get
Yeah.
the final
Yeah.
responses back. If we can broaden it in any way, we will. My next step then is to send out a formal invitation, and I think I'm going to do that by email, just because it's easiest and we have all the email addresses gathered. And then Becky will take care of the rest that evening. I'll arrange to have some food brought in, but Becky should handle everything. Oh, she does want one board member along with one staff member, which will probably be me that night, to go ahead and be there to just help listen to what people are saying. And so if anyone feels like they'd like to be there on the 28th,
That'd be 2
Talk to me.
weeks from tonight.
2 weeks from tonight,
2 weeks
yes.
from tonight at 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock, and Becky said we'll go ahead and plan it from 5 to 8, and chances are we'll be able to finish early, but we're going to err on the side of long. And we did, if you remember us talking about this before, we did go with just one meeting. She usually does two, but I thought it would be so much easier if we could just get people to commit to one night and then they can be done.
Yeah, I think that'll work.
Yeah.
If she can keep everybody on task.
Yeah, I think she can.
Oh, I think she can.
Well, I'm glad that you're mailing an invitation.
Well, I was
Email.
thinking about emailing it.
Email.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's fine. They all have addresses.
Yes, yeah.
I told John to be in 5 to 7, so I'm glad you're going to follow up.
Okay,
on it.
okay.
He asked me if what I told him was said in cement, and I said, I think so, but it hasn't dried.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I think we did play with the time a little bit, so you were probably remembering correctly, but we've adjusted it to 8 o'clock.
Yeah, just so he knows it.
Well, you can dangle a little bit of a carrot and say, we're most willing to end this early if everyone gets on board and gets things done.
She's also on Friends Board too.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Oh, good, cheers.
Okay, anything more to report? I think that's terrific. I mean,
Sounds
this is
great. Yes.
What was it, 2 weeks ago we turned in our list? Yeah,
Yes.
So, Sarah, is it correct you started with 80 names? 80?
Well, I think, yes, I think there were close to 80 after the staff met after the last board meeting and looked at the names and had other, additional ideas to fill in different gaps. So, and I talked to Becky about that, and she said, well, that's just fine, because if you do get folks who can't make it that night, we'd have plenty to backfill. So
Yeah.
I know that Emily was aware of the representation we were trying to get, so she was trying to, and she knows most of these people too, she was trying to make it even.
you don't want it too big, because then you never get people to,
Yeah, we want to hear from everyone.
everyone's chance.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure that I could make that work, but if you talk and you don't get any other
Okay.
board member
Alright.
interest, then let me
Okay.
know and I'll see.
Sounds good.
Okay, more discussion on item 6. We are now ready to move on to item 7. I don't think 6 needs any kind of action, but 7 is personnel and policies,
Yes.
presenting the collection development policy.
So I think you have copies of that. It's 8 pages. Always, we start looking at the mission. So our library, the collection development decides what books are and what materials we have and don't have. That's what it's all about. Our goal is to provide information, recreation, and community. So that's the goal of the library, therefore the collection should reflect that. The purpose of the policy is to give the staff background on what we do and don't want. So when they pick out materials, they have something to go back to and say, yes, this fits what we're going to do. And I just highlight under the responsibility for the collection is Sarah's, but the community can request by going to an online form, a book or material, or by talking to a librarian. So we definitely want the community and individuals to participate in that.
Yeah, and that's very common, that people request things, so we invite everyone to do
To
that.
do that,
Yeah.
please. So then our criteria are on the second page, general criteria, and then criteria for the nonfiction and for fiction and gifts. And then the changes that we're suggesting are a lot under Part E. Unique to our collection is genealogy. And we would like to change the genealogy sentence. The study of lineage and history of families are purchased by the library. Long-term loans are accepted in accordance with past policies. We had a more specific statement because the genealogy club and some individual people had given materials on the assumption that they could get them back if they wanted them. And we don't have written records of those. So if we had a long-term policy with them, we would certainly honor that. And that's why that wordage is like it is. On the third page, under government documents, we had listed a bunch of documents that the library has, but now they're online. So we thought it might be more appropriate to say staff can provide the patron assistance in accessing online documents. And there's a list of all the different government documents that you can get through the library. And staff can help patrons find those. And then we have the appendixes, 4 appendixes. The Library Bill of Rights, which hasn't changed. And the Freedom to Read statement, check that out, it's the same. And the Freedom to View statement. And then Appendix D is if a patron has a concern about a certain work. The procedure that the library would go through if they were questioning a work. And on Appendix E, the last page, is what that person or that group would fill out if they have a concern about a library material or a library item. So we did want to make under D, which is the procedure for filling that out, that under Part 5, we no longer have a Waverly Human Equity and Diversity Commission. So that should be omitted, and that's the difference on that page. So the library tries to be the open place for information where you can go and find what information you want without someone looking over your shoulder and keeping track of what you've done and so on. It's available to all. So committee moves that we accept this amended policy.
Any questions to Elaine and who else? That's-
Mike, Sheriff?
Yeah, Mike's on that
Yeah.
committee.
And
And
Jim
Jim Jansen, and
Yeah.
he's Travis.
Strong committee
So,
members.
anything to add, Mike?
Only that when I was in high school, I couldn't look at certain things in my public library because they were in a cage. And they were in the cage because I didn't have a written note from my parents. It was pretty interesting. But I did browbeat the librarian into letting me have the book I wanted. I won't tell you what it was
I was
about, but
gonna
you
say.
can imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well,
So
fortunately,
this
we
is
don't
much-
have cages.
No, we do not.
So this is a motion from committee. If there's no more discussion, all in favor of the policy adjustments, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you for spending all the time on this. Do you have
Yes.
another policy in the
We're done.
offer?
Yeah,
We're
every
done?
we review every policy every 3 years, and this was the last.
Well, hallelujah. That's been a major,
Yeah.
yeah, it
You
has.
got it.
And I should make a special thanks to Elaine because she has
Oh.
been so organized in keeping track of what policies that we needed to do next and to stay on track to get done within 3 years. So I
Before the
appreciate
end
it.
of the year.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Elaine.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go on to other reports. What does buildings and grounds have to say?
We have nothing to report.
It's sort of nice to have nothing to report. It's from buildings
No problems.
and grounds for 2 years' worth of work. Personnel and policies, you just said that,
Yes.
So
we're
what do you
done with
think
that.
next
We will
come-
meet on November 3rd
Mhm.
at 1:30, and we're going to be looking at the strategic plan for the next 5 years, whatever, yeah, how that progress is coming, and also look back on how we're doing on our current plan, which covered 24, or half of 24 and 25. It was a year and a half.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. And talk with Sarah about her goals for the years and how they're coming.
okay, budget and finance, we're going to continue to do the Monday meetings before board and try to get the financials to you in a clear way as much as we can, thanks to Zach. We don't have any guidance at this moment from the city as far as their plan for budgeting, but James did say that he would get stuff to Sarah as soon as he could. He seems to be snowed under with stuff right now. And we also are beginning to look, and the city is too, at long-range planning for items that may need replacement or just being on top of stuff before we have to spend a lot of money.
Sort of like HVAC.
Exactly.
That could be a dirty word. HBA, that is a four-letter word. So, any criticisms or anything about committee meetings, don't hesitate to voice if you're not happy with things, the way things are going, but we seem to be happy.
That's another meeting that anyone could attend if they want to just request a link for the virtual meetings. So,
James Perry usually joins over his lunch hour, so we try to keep it right at an hour or less.
The other thing that we may just want to give the heads up on, depending on when we hear from the city on guidance and when our board meetings fall, we may end up needing an additional meeting of this board in order to approve the budget before the December due date. So stay tuned on that when
Yeah.
we know more.
We haven't received that date. It usually runs somewhere around the 15th, middle of the month. And we always have a board meeting fairly close to it. If we go into November without a lot of information to give you, then we may have to ask for another quick meeting. Okay, Public Library Foundation, anything more, Deanna?
Just, again, we've appointed Angie now. We do have our third quarter investment committee. We had a couple of other members of that committee that had conflicts, so we'll be looking for a new date here in the next week or two for the regular investment performance meeting. And then I am also going to be getting together here soon when we can coordinate schedules with Danny Gordon from One Vision to complete that work to take the project website for the building project and convert it to be the foundation website for donations and promotion of the foundation. So that's underway. We do have a couple of things with donor signage that we're finishing up. Sarah has been working with the signage company, and we need to look at that a little bit more. Couple of issues on the building project that people are aware of still, the fireplace and the HVAC in the teen room, and making sure those things are all working as the project was supposed to have them working. And then we do have one final CAT grant survey that we have to complete by the end of the month. And so Sarah's going to be looking at that, so.
Okay, and we have the number one friend of the library board.
Oh, right.
If you have something to visit with us about?
Well, we helped with the senior center on their meal today, and our schedule also to help them next month, November 11th, which, I don't know, maybe when your next meeting is too.
Oh, November 11th.
Mhm.
Yep.
Veterans Day, so we'll see what happens then. And the fund drive is off and running, the membership drive for next year. We're not sure exactly what to, used to take, it's really kind of asking for an annual set of donations, because it's really, there's no membership perk or anything that goes with it. It's just a matter of people feeling good about themselves supporting the library, and I think that's a very important thing.
We're always ready to help people feel good about themselves at the library. Okay, director comments.
Yeah, so my goals for myself really reflect what we're currently working on with the 25-26 goals too. So I've got some of those added on, but the ones that have made the most progress of late are related to leadership. I have met with Selena Pierman twice now for leadership coaching, and it's wonderful. She's great to work with. I'm going to be meeting with her, I think, later this week. And I maybe mentioned this before, but she's going to be coming to one of our staff development days coming up. So that is a really good development there. As far as staff communication and team building, our first staff development day went really well. Our next one is coming up already on the 29th. So just a little more than 2 weeks away. And Emily and I are working on an agenda for that to make sure we get accomplished what we want to in that time. It's amazing how fast 3 hours goes when you've got a lot you want to discuss. And then I feel great about strategic planning for 26 through 31. I think since we brought Becky Heil on board from the State Library, I feel just very confident that it's in good hands. We've had a good response to our focus group request, and we're on schedule as far as where we wanted to be at this time of year to finish up before July, even though, again, our accreditation is not dependent on that now. Becky assured me that our current 25-26 plan that we're working under will check the box for that, but I think it's still appropriate to hit that same target, that we'll have a new plan by July 1. And with the long-range financial planning was another one of my goals, to put some emphasis on that again. And like Diana and Deanna talked about, there was one meeting where we kind of discussed our list of capital projects as it stands, and we'll continue to talk about that in the coming weeks and see where, as we're talking to the city, where those things fit in the coming years. And as in regard to communications plan, which is part of our 25-26 plan, I think that's going to make the most sense for us to invest time in after the board has, after we've had the focus group and we hear things from the community, and after the board has had a chance to set the overarching goals. I think that would be the best time for us to set a new communications plan. It doesn't seem like we should put a whole lot of work into that and time into that right now when we're so close to, potentially having our direction shifted a little bit. So, I brought Trevor here to talk, and you can join us up at the dais, to talk about our experience at the Iowa Library Association conference. We went together to Sioux City, and it was a long drive, but I talked his ear off, so it went really fast. And there were great sessions, and it's always a great time to bump into librarians that you don't see very often. We were out to eat Thursday night with, across from us we had the assistant director at the Waterloo Public Library, and to my right was the director of the Marion Public Library, and the Carnegie Stout Public Library in Dubuque was across the table. So there were a lot of people, a lot of good people to talk to and good people to know. So some of the, one thing that I wanted to highlight was that we saw a premiere of the documentary that just came out this year called The Librarians, and it was a really well-researched film. We got to see it in the Orpheum Theater in downtown Sioux City, which is a beautifully restored old theater. But it talks about librarians all over the country that have been dealing with a dramatic increase in book bans and just the struggle to keep that ideal of the freedom to read. So if you're interested in that film, I know that the Cedar Falls Public Library is bringing it to their library on the 22nd of October, which is next Wednesday, is that correct? And I believe it is at
6 p.m.
6 p.m., you're right. So if anybody's interested in going, that's open to everyone. Otherwise, just in brief, some of the sessions that I attended, I got to see the plans and hear the whole capital campaign story of Cedar Rapids' new West Branch Library, which is a 40,000 square foot library that they're building from scratch. So that's about twice the size or twice the square footage of our building. And it's part of a very large park that's being built. So that was exciting to hear about and see. GAC, or the Governmental Affairs Committee of ILA, did a session on the legislative process and how important it is to keep up relationships with our legislators, especially during the non-session time, to keep inviting them to our events and keep showing them so that they have some knowledge themselves about the kinds of things that are available at the library and the kinds of things that go on there. I learned more about open educational resources, or OERs. We had the library director of one of the community college libraries there talking about how some colleges and universities have gone to just basically creating their own textbooks because textbook prices are so high, and they make them open source, so they just are free and openly licensed. People can use them, adapt them, I meant to say, and share however they want. It's very similar, and I mentioned this in that session to our Fortepan, Iowa project, where our historic photos were loaded onto Fortepan, but we needed to make them part of the Creative Commons so that they could be used any creative way that anybody wanted to use them. And that's how OERs are, that the cost is just, so they talked a lot about how public libraries could make use of those resources to expand our collections for very little to no cost. So I have to do some more talking to staff on that one to figure out what areas we might tackle first, but there was an interesting idea from the West Des Moines Public Library. They've done this Librarians of Fandom program where they take fictional librarians from movies and TV series, and they use that concept to teach a class, if you will, on what our jobs are really like. And they said they had a surprisingly large number of people that were interested in their program. And so if they attended all 5 or 6 sessions, they got a t-shirt that said Library Fandom. And this is something that I think Emily brought up a few years ago, that we should maybe do something similar to what the police department does as the Citizens Academy, but we would do it for the library. And they had really good luck with it in West Des Moines, so that might be something we use.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and those are kind of the highlights for me, but I wanted, and Trevor, I need to say, because he probably won't share this himself, but he got to address the whole body of ILA at our lunch meeting on Thursday as the treasurer of ILA, because he's been serving in that capacity. And
Pays big money.
so he did a very fine job, and he represented Waverly very well. So.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
You have me nervous that you took all of Trevor's talking points. Is
Yeah.
there anything left for him to talk about?
I think I left a few things for him.
Yeah, well, we did attend a couple of the sessions of the same session, so I'll maybe just expand a little on a
Yes,
couple.
do that.
Before
Do
I
that.
do though, I just want to tell you guys today, we had a story time that had 70 people show up. And I just want to say that because those are summer numbers. So that was pretty cool. I wanted to share that with you all.
Tell them where it was.
Yeah.
Oh, just a dairy farm, you know.
Oh,
Emily and I here, cows right here licking my guitar. Anyway, so that was pretty fun. To continue the discussion though, and to reiterate, you gotta go see the librarians. I mean, there are several moments, I don't cry at stuff, but I cried at this movie, and I'm at several times. I mean, it's profound. There's one moment that sticks out to me particularly where a library, they were having a meeting just like this, except the whole room would have been full, and hundreds of comments where they were debating whether or not the library would remain open because of the materials that were in it. And in the parking lot after they had confirmed that it would stay open, the librarians were, oh, I'm gonna cry again. The librarians were, you know, embracing each other, just like so thrilled that they fought against this censorship. And so, in any case, that's just one moment that I remember particularly that movie is worth watching, you guys. Whether you can make it on Wednesday, or I assume it will be somehow put on streaming online somewhere. It's worth the watch.
do we, just out of curiosity, do we know how much it costs for a public performance license?
I tried to reach out to the Palace because I don't know if they would be interested in bringing
Yeah,
it here,
that's
but
exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, I gave, they have a website that has information about the rights to it, so I haven't looked into it myself, but I was
Yeah.
hoping maybe we could find, otherwise, if we find out the number, we could look at having it at our library too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking the same thing when the Palace opens. this would be a great public.
They've got the big auditorium,
Opportunity.
then they have the smaller
smaller,
area.
yeah.
Yeah, smaller area, that would be something like that. That
Might
holds
be
about
cool
40
if we
people.
do
Invite-
launch some sort of a librarians of fandom,
Yeah.
you know, to coordinate a program
Yeah.
that
Yeah, that's
features
right.
in. I know there's a really great book, The Librarian,
Yes.
that's out now. you
That
know.
librarian.
Which
Yeah.
she's in the
That
movie,
librarian.
actually.
She is in the
She's in
movie,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, and whether, you know, a book club that's reading that book
Right.
at the same time, you know, kind of a coordinated program
Yeah.
effort.
That's
So
a
just a
big,
question about the screening in Cedar Falls. They're doing it in the library?
Correct, yeah.
yeah, I think just a meeting room there in the library.
They do movies there quite often. Well, I have a friend that goes to
Goes,
those, yeah, likes to
So
do
come
that.
early for a good seat?
Yeah,
is that kind of-
exactly.
So to talk about some of the specific sessions I went to one on the topic of censorship, and specifically about reconsideration policies. And this might be an interesting point, and the reason I discussed this at the in the board setting, because it might be interesting for you all to think about, but there's different kinds of reconsideration policies that maybe you wouldn't have expected could be written, and that we could write if we felt so compelled. But before I tell you about those, I just want to share some stats that I thought were interesting. 72% of censorship attempts in the last year were initiated by pressure groups and decision makers who've been swayed by them. So that's, and that's significant because the previous year, or sorry, in 2020, that number was 26%. So there's a lot of, the reason you see so many more book challenges in the current year versus say 10 years ago is because there's a more concerted national effort to get into these local decision-making places and try to force change and censorship. So that's, oh, and I should say too, 55% of those challenges were in public libraries. So 55% of all challenges, a lot of them come up in school libraries, which you would, in the library, or the librarian's movie focuses specifically on that, but 55% of those challenges are in libraries like ours. And 76% of those challenges were books. So the Dubuque County Library actually has some really interesting reconsideration policies because they go beyond just books, although, I mean, you just heard me say it's mostly books, but there's also a reconsideration policy for bulletin boards and displays, for gifts and donations, for meeting rooms, for programming, all that stuff. It follows a pretty similar structure to what they do for their book reconsideration policies, but it's just something I hadn't ever considered. That's just an extra level of opportunity for somebody with a dissenting voice to say, hey, I'm not quite sure that I agree with what's happening here, and maybe I can come in and we can talk about it. So it might be worth considering. I don't know, Sarah, maybe.
So it's interesting timing because our collection development policy tonight has that, basically reconsideration page, but yeah, we could add to that in the future.
So Trevor, is it your impression that a good number of these challenges are successful, or what are the results?
That's a tough question. I mean, there's a website that you can go to and see pretty much a list of here's a place, here's all the books that are banned. You won't find our library on that list. You will find a library in town though, at the school, with 15 books listed. So it's here. Another idea that was shared at that session is keeping record of displays. There was a library that plans out their displays for a whole year. So that when someone says, well, I don't like that you did this display, well, we've been planning it for this long and it's been open for you to see what we're doing. So that's another, I guess, defense you could say. They also suggested on the catalog that patrons can access if you scroll, it lists a suggested age for materials. And previously with our last ILS, integrated library system, we got rid of that. We had the ability to hide that and the reason being that you want a parent to look at a material and make a choice versus looking at it and saying, well, the publisher says my 9-year-old can read that. And so I went and looked, and it's like, oh wow, it's back again with Atrium. So I talked with Ryan, we might remove that again, like it was before. Again, to give parents that extra choice. Sarah talked about the session on advocacy that we both attended. Maybe just to add a couple of things really why it matters so much is that, and you guys all know this, our budget, our staff, what we do, and our policies are all affected by this stuff. So that's why, like Sarah said, the advocacy going through the entire year versus just when they're over in Des Moines is so important. And one thing that was kind of profound to me, I was talking with the Iowa Library Association's lobbyists, who are fantastic. They've been advocating for libraries for more than 20 years. And they were telling me the importance of and this was, I guess, a theme for the whole conference too. Our keynote speaker said this, I heard this just the whole time, how important it is to build that community support. Because, and this kind of shocked me, and this was from his perspective, again, a really, someone who spent a lot of time doing this stuff. He said 20 people consistently sending emails to a legislator about a certain thing is just about enough to make them listen. Which you wouldn't think, 20 people, it's like, that's nothing. But consistently sharing a message, a positive message of what libraries do, a positive message to those decision makers does make a big difference. Yeah, and it's especially important because we're the experts on what happens when this legislation happens, and often they aren't. You might recall, like last year, when there was an attempt to make it so that city councils would be in control of libraries rather than a board. And that, we all go, what? Why would they want to do that? The council members have so much to keep track of anyway, but they simply, it's just not something in their wheelhouse that if we can explain, and we have a community to explain why we prefer this kind of local rule versus that kind, that's so important. So yeah, that's all I'll say about that session. Yeah, I guess that ecosystem of support where we have community members, we've put pennies in a jar towards building that goodwill of here's what the library does. Then when negative things come for the library, it's easy to cash in on that goodwill and have supporters just in the community. That kind of thing is huge. So Sarah talked briefly about the open educational resources. Again, we went to that session together. But the cool part, I thought, was like just to flesh out what exactly they are, because they sound a little like amorphic. Like there's a link you can click that will give you hundreds of pages of information on how to be a mechanic, or advanced physics, or I could go on and on, and it's all just there. And so the cool application, like Sarah was saying, is that this supplements, like when we have to get rid of a database because of a budget thing, then all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, we had all this information that was available to people and now it's not. Now it's not we have those paid databases for a reason, but these can serve as a supplement or like a stopgap in those cases because they really are so well made. And it even goes beyond like just being plain textbooks. They're really fine-tuned tools for learning. They have modules to work through coursework type of thing. So it's advanced stuff, and be really cool to have a little spot on our website where we can direct people to all kinds of, oh man, what a cool time to be a learner. You can just go online and find all this great stuff all for free. So, so, yeah, I guess that just that ecosystem of support where we have community members, we've put pennies in a jar towards building that goodwill of here's what the library does. That's then when negative things come for the library, it's easy to cash in on that goodwill and yeah, we can use that type of material to enhance our programming. I really like the idea of supporting adult learners too, because we get a lot of people coming into the library who are without a job and are searching for a job, and these kinds of tools are ways for them to gain skills, to apply for different jobs, maybe advance their spot in life, just by learning through using these things. And digital literacy is a big one too. And on that topic, so outside of the sessions, I think, and Sarah kind of hit on this, my favorite thing about going to these conferences is talking with other librarians. I mean, duh, right? Yeah, we do talk, we don't just talk. At the keynote session, we were challenged to talk with those at our table about what we wished people knew about libraries. And sitting at the table was the vice president of ILA. Her name's Brittany Jacobs, and she's the director at Burlington Public Library. And this was my favorite thing from the whole conference. She talked about how important information is, especially going forward into this age we find ourselves in, and how she wishes that people recognize that information is the key resource of the future. And I bring this part up specifically because potentially, I think this would be an interesting piece of a strategic plan, is to address this high need of information to be free and open. She actually spoke so well, and I jotted down really quick, and I read my note later, I was like, dang, I didn't quite get it. So I sent an email and said, could you explain yourself a little more? So I have a little bit of it here, and I won't read it, of course, but a couple things she said that really stuck out to me, especially like in the context of a strategic plan potentially, was how much AI slop, misinformation, disinformation that exists, that all kinds of people still fall for, even me, who I have a degree in this stuff. Like, dang, gosh. That the importance of helping people to discern and get true information is so vital, because that true information is becoming like a commodity almost. Like, if you don't have the real story, or you don't have the ability to find the real story, then that's power being taken away from the individual. The other thing she said that I thought was kind of cool is that libraries are one of the last places where your information is not capitalized or weaponized upon, or capitalized upon or weaponized. So like the information we collect from patrons is not used in any, we don't sell it. We use it only to function, but that's not the case for anywhere. So advocating specifically and advancing the ability for the people of Waverly to have access to information, whatever that information may be, good information, correct information, information for them to decide what is correct, I suppose I mean to say, but is vital to what we do. And that's, like I said, becoming increasingly challenging to parse and for people in the community to understand. So if that were going to be a piece of a strategic plan, I mean, here I am saying, I think that would be kind of cool to make that a priority.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mention that one of the sessions I went to, were you in the AI one as
no.
well? There was one on the ethics of AI, and from an academic librarian's perspective, and there's a lot of skepticism about what it can do. Can it do it well enough? But I've learned just a ton from Ryan Webster at our library, because he is fascinated with AI. He's spoken to Keep On Learning at least once. He's spoken to a couple other groups, but he's just very good at giving examples, and he's constantly testing it himself. But he also has this very healthy skepticism about what it can't do yet, or what you don't want to feed into it, that kind of thing. And so I think I don't think there's any way around the fact that we're gonna be watching that closely and working with that closely and trying to find a way to help the general public navigate that.
I think he's going to be doing another Keep On Learning session on the end of the year.
Yeah, which is great. I'm going to be doing a little bit of work with Wartburg as they do their strategic plan, and one of the articles we read, they commissioned a study to be done on the Gen Alpha, or the kids who are just coming into college now and have been complete digital natives. And one of the findings was that don't assume that they know how to use the technology expertly. Many of them will admit that they could learn more about how to use it. So I think just like helping people navigate the internet, which we've been doing for a long time now, I think for a long time in the future we'll be helping people navigate AI. But it's a big part of what's being talked about at library conferences these days.
Just to conclude my thoughts, I want to publicly thank Sarah for a year ago when I said, can I be the treasurer of ILA? And she said, go for it. I do most of my, if not all of my work outside of hours, but the occasions where there's a meeting during the day, I want to thank Sarah for allowing me to do that, because it's been hugely professionally edifying. I've met a lot of cool people and became close with cool librarians because of it. So I'm on the hook for 2 more years, so I better not be careful, or better careful what I say. But
I think it pays off too in the connections that you make. When we have questions, we've got people to go to, and yeah, I think it's a great opportunity and great for the library.
Yeah.
yeah, in fact, Becky Heil, the reason that I think we reached out is somebody in an ILA meeting mentioned that she was really good at it, and I told Sarah, and then Sarah asked her, so.
Yeah, that's how we got our.
There we go. We got a money's worth, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That's awesome.
Well, that's really impressive. So, did you have to campaign for this position, or how did that come about?
So I was on the finance committee of the Iowa Library Association, and the treasurer before me had reached the end of their 3 years, and they were searching for a treasurer, and she said, Trevor, would you do it? And I said, probably not, I'm really busy. and then nobody stood up, and so I went, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much for
Yeah.
serving
Position that,
and your
That's a
representation of our
Wow.
community, our library.
Oh, sure, yeah, it's hard work and it takes a lot of time, but it's very worth it, very
Yeah.
worth it.
not a position that people clamor for. Therefore, it says something special about you.
Yeah, he's doing a great service to the organization.
Well, they did ask if I could count to 10 before I started, so
There was a requirement.
I got stuck at 8, but I got through it.
Well, it's a feather in our cap as a community
Yeah.
that we have somebody at ILA that's on the executive team. I mean, that doesn't happen
Absolutely.
in every community.
Yeah.
But, you know, your comment about good information, I don't know what,
Yes.
whether the Keep On Learning presentation that we're going to be getting will deal with it, but I think it would be important to find a way to help patrons know when is information good information. How do you know that? I
Right.
mean, that's a tough one, I think.
And if I were to recommend a book to read as a librarian, The Chaos Machine is a great one. I'm blanking on the author's name, but it's about social media and the use of information and how it's become a great evil in the world in a way that it has incited violence and creates others and thems and that type of thing. So if you wanted to do some homework, that'd be. I sent Lindsay an email today like, hey, we should do this as a community book club because it's really that good, and it's about finding good information and how information is used to influence everybody who uses social media, which is everybody,
Right.
almost, yeah.
Max Fisher. Max
Yeah, that's
Fisher.
it, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. This library is such a gem to the community. People just need to take advantage.
When we moved to town, we came to town and Greg and I went to the library. Of course, we're both teachers, but that is where we came and we said, yep, this is where we need, I mean, that was our, other than obviously a job, but it was definitely a sticking point as new people coming to the community.
Okay, board comments. Let's start with Angie. Any,
I just said
you
it.
just did?
Yep,
Okay,
there you go.
And Erin.
I guess, yeah, I'm feeling like, since we're being broadcast tonight, just encouraging people to come to the library, you know, and check things out. We've got great staff that can help direct you to all of our different collections and give recommendations and, you know, stop and see the bookmobile if you see it out and about, or, I don't know, we just have so many great things. Libby, Canopy, you know, it's like you don't even have to come to the library, but you really should come to the library too. Especially if they're getting colder, it's like, ooh, I'm, ready to curl up or play a board game or, yeah. So, that's all.
Mike.
Well, I just want to second what Angie had to say. My wife and I came to this community 17 years ago, and there were three things that I was concerned about because we almost retired in Minnesota. And one of them was it's a growing and healthy community. Number two, Waverly College is here, and I'm a fanatic for that place. And the public library. And you know, the library in this town is, I've seen a lot of libraries in a lot of towns. This is a great library.
Deanna.
Yeah, just a couple of things too. I think a couple of months ago I mentioned we were working on a brochure to highlight all of the artwork that we have. We're continuing to work on that, getting a little additional info from Lynn Montag. And Sarah's been working on repair to a piece that needed some updates. Trevor's been working on getting things ready for the teen photographs that we will hopefully be able to enlarge and display in the teen room. So got projects on that. We did get a piece of art on long-term loan that we worked to develop a loan agreement so that we could accept that artwork. And so lots of things going there, and hopefully very soon we'll have some ways to promote all of the great artwork that's there at the library. I also wanted to echo some of the comments about just coming to the library, and on behalf of the foundation that we were talking about earlier, and all the generous donations the foundation received to complete our building renovation. If you haven't been to the library, stop in and see all that's new and great at the Waverly Public Library. If you'd like to make a donation to the library, visit our website and you'll find information there about how you can do that. And then Sarah, you and I spoke briefly. Ross Helgevald, longtime member of the board, received his recognition from the city council at the last meeting, and we talked about maybe it would be nice to do a little coffee again with Ross when he can come and join us, and thank him for his service on the board. So we'll look for some options for that.
Good idea.
Elaine.
Hey, I was excited, Trevor, to hear you describe how perhaps one of our goals could be knowledge. Yeah. I couldn't figure out how to say that very well, and I like the way you described
Simple
it.
is always the best. Simple and direct.
Yes.
Okay, before I ask for adjournment, I see here a special projects request has been submitted.
Yeah.
So we need a special projects committee. Who's on that?
Yeah, I need to review that and see where we left off last time. It's been a little bit since the special projects
Yeah,
committee
with
met, but I thought that would be a good discussion for the November meeting, if we can get that meeting of the special projects in before the November
That'd be a
meeting.
good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get that done. Okay. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
I move we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, great meeting, everybody.